This is how you get the hell away from Dordings. What's up guys, Riley here from RP Productions, and today I'm gonna make a pretty much review video of this R2C Cold Air Intake that I have in my 2016 Dodge Charger Scat Pack. So I have an installation video on this channel that I put up a few days ago. The installation of this intake was fairly simple, although there was a couple minor modifications I had to do to it. Number one being it took quite a bit of adjusting to get this portion down more because it was running into the top of the hood. So if you can see, no, you really can't see it, but there's basically a thin piece of sheet metal right here, and I had to bend it a little bit so it would fit properly. And then also this little tube right here, I guess it's the crankcase vent hose, I had to cut off about an inch of it because it basically, this fitting was in a different place than the stock air box or the stock tube was. So I had to cut off about an inch of it to make it fit properly. But other than that, the installation of this system was pretty simple. But this video is going to be talking about what my opinions are on the intake and how it actually performs. So right off the bat, let's see, I guess I'll start off with the good. Okay, so the good things about this intake are, number one, the only real benefit I have seen so far is an increase in throttle response. So when you're just cruising and doing everyday driving, that's when you're like, okay, there's a little bit more response here. And that's kind of one big reason why cold air intakes, I've always been a fan of them, is because I enjoy the extra added throttle response. That's nice to me. Horsepower gains, I really don't know if there is any. If there is any, it would be very, very small. But let's just say, for example, let's say the system gave me 15 horsepower. Well, this car right here is 485 horsepower stock. So if that did in fact bump it up to 500, I don't know what the percentage of that increase, 15 out of, I don't know the percentage, but whatever it is, it's definitely not very big, and honestly you wouldn't notice a 15 horsepower increase with the cold air intake. You really wouldn't. So for all I know, maybe it did give me 15, or maybe it gave me absolutely 0. But either way, I really can't tell. I guess the only maybe true way would be racing a completely stock Scat Pack and seeing if this thing pulls away at all. But other than that, I really wouldn't know. Either way, before the intake and after the intake, the car is still really fast either way. So horsepower, you don't really, I would not buy this system if you're just like, I just need more horsepower, because you're not going to feel anything. So the added whooshing sound this thing makes when you really get on the gas is also pretty cool. And then when you turn the car off, it kind of makes a psst noise, which is, I don't know, I guess it's a cool factor thing. And then the other good portion would be, you know, saying it looks cool in the engine bay, and it's like, oh, hey, look, his car's not completely bone stock. I mean, even though it's just an intake, you know, it looks kind of cool in here. So now that I've got all that stuff out of the way, now let's talk about the bad. So the bad would be, quite honestly, I feel like it's not exactly the most expensive feeling intake, and that's what you get for spending $200 on this intake. I bought this intake for $200 off of Summit Racing's website. They are also sold on, I believe, like Speed Logics and a couple other places for like $250 and upwards. But the reason I bought this intake is because it was honestly the cheapest one I could find, and it had a lot of good reviews online. So I was like, well, that's going to be the best bang for my buck, so I'm going to buy it. And honestly, I can't say I'm too impressed with it. The biggest reason why I don't think I like this intake is this tube right here is just a really cheap material. And now online it says, oh, we use the best whatever heat insulating material for the tube. But to me, it's just like a cheap rubber material, and like, I don't know, I just don't feel like that's the best material. I've seen some intakes use like carbon fiber, and then of course the stock intake uses basically like I guess it's a plastic. And so honestly, I think the plastic might be a little bit better, because I'll get to it in a second when we go to a driving portion about the temperatures on this car. But the temperatures, I really have not seen any type of decrease in temperatures with this intake. Before I put the intake in, I was running about 10 degrees over the ambient temperature outside, and now it's still running give or take about 10, it depends on your speed. If you're going at a higher rate of speed cruising on the highway, actually the temperatures will go down slightly, maybe to like 6 or 7. But then, you know, if you're in around town, they obviously will go up. And a huge downside to this intake is because of its open design, and I guess probably also because of this right here. It gets super hot when you're sitting at like a red light or sitting still. So I'm about to start the car up and we're gonna watch how fast the temperatures climb, and I'm just gonna leave everything, you know, completely real time, and you'll be able to see for yourself how fast this stuff actually goes up. So the last time I drove this car was about 2.5 hours ago, so it should be relatively cooled down, and then we'll just see how fast it climbs up. But yeah, so temperatures, not at all really any difference when you're just, you know, normal driving, but when you are at a stoplight or something, the temperatures will climb faster than the stock system. So to conclude this intake, would I spend $200 again to buy this specific system? The answer to that question is no, I would not. I would pay the extra money and get a nicer system from another company. I've had an air raid on my last car, which was a 2014 Dodge Charger with the 5.7, and I absolutely loved that system. And it kept the same factory little tube that went from the throttle body to the, I guess the box area. So what I might end up doing is get that stock tube back and see if I can somehow make it fit in here. I'm not exactly sure if it's even gonna work. I will honestly have to just do some looking around to see if that's even possible. But if it's not possible, then would I take this system out? Probably not. I'll probably leave it in here. I don't really see it hurting anything. And I enjoyed the throttle response. It looks really cool in here. It sounds kind of cool. And you know, there's okay, so when it deals with cold air intakes, there's 3 different types of people. Number 1, the people that say it doesn't do jack shit. Number 2, the people that are like, cold air intakes are life-changing. They are absolutely awesome. And number 3, the people that are like, well, I don't know. And so I generally would opt towards more of a, yeah, cold air intakes are a good, cheap little add-on that you can do to gain a couple extra horsepower and increase your airflow. But with this system, it's not really too noticeable. But if you look at any quote-unquote race car going racing or something, like, you know, Mustangs, Camaros, whatever, you know, basically any car, I guarantee you like 90% of them are going to have some type of cold air intake. So if they didn't do anything, I don't think those cars would have them. And then of course there's dyno results of people actually getting gains off of cold air intakes. So I do believe that they help, but I just do not have access to a dyno, so I'm not going to be here and saying, oh, I, you know, lost horsepower, gained horsepower, whatever. I mean, honestly, feels the same. All right, so we're going to go ahead and shut this baby up and walk over here. We're going to start it up. I'm doing everything in real time so you can see, you know, just how fast everything happens and everything climbs up. So here's a startup. All right, so now I'll go over here and once it finally loads, and open up the performance pages. So Super Track Pack. Performance pages has not loaded yet. Come on, man. Performance pages is loading. Please wait. Okay, well, I'll just keep waiting. All right, well, to hell with that. I'll look at it here instead. So I have this pulled up, and the intake air temperature is already 107 degrees, and it's only 69 degrees outside. So that already is kind of a problem. So we're gonna see, you know, how fast that jumps up from 107. So it's 322 right now. So let's see. I'll just leave the car sitting here idling. All right, so about 2 minutes into this test, the temperatures of the intake are 111 degrees, while the outside temperature is only 69. Now keep in mind, well, now it's 113. Keep in mind, I'm just sitting in a parking garage that has, you know, covered shade, obviously, and this is just how far it has climbed up. So now we're gonna go get it out on some open highway, and we'll watch how the temperatures do out there, and then also I can see if I can do, hopefully the rain is not too bad. It's kind of starting to drizzle, but hopefully I can do a couple pulls, and you know, we can see how the temperatures are there. All right, so out here in central Mexico at my testing location, I'm coming down here to cruise control is set on 80, and the intake temperature is also 80, and the exterior temperature is 72. So cruising at 80, well, now we're down to 78. So, you know, sitting right there, you know, just under 10. It depends on what speed you're going and stuff like that. Generally at slower speeds, the temperature will be slightly higher, maybe a little bit over 10. But I guess the faster speeds you go, you can actually get it a little bit cooler than 10 degrees. So that is a good thing. It's just, you know, while moving, totally fine, but when sitting still, this thing climbs like a rocket, and that's when it's not good. So let's go and see about the power. Alright, so as I said before, I'm in central Mexico, so let's see if we can get any extra noise out of this intake. Well, as you can see, at wide open throttle, there's really not too much of a whooshing noise or any added sound from the intake. The exhaust note might be slightly deeper than stock, but really it's about the same, if we're being totally honest. I would not buy this intake if you're expecting to have, you know, added great sound effects to your car. I mean, the car sounds great as is, completely bone stock, so yeah. Now you can tell by the timestamp up there, it's 3:43 now. I'm not sure what the time was on that little pull, but you know, this is like probably a minute after that pull happened, and the temperatures were 78 degrees while the exterior is 72. So as you can see, you know, doing a pull doesn't just skyrocket the temperatures either, so that's a good thing. You know, like I said, would I buy this intake again? Probably not this specific one, but it definitely isn't bad by any means. And you know, the throttle response, like I said, so if I get on it and it you know, that's like a, I don't know, quarter throttle application, and you can definitely tell there's some added, there's a Hellcat out there. What the hell? All right, well that was weird. There's just a random white Hellcat sitting out there with a group of other cars just on the side of the road. But you can definitely tell that the throttle response is slightly better, but not like, you know, life-changing. Well, since I haven't posted an official driving video of this car yet, I figured I could leave you guys with this. So I'm just gonna kind of ease into the power, and I'm saving launch control for that driving video, but here we go. Let's just kind of have a little fun. I love my Scat Pack. Well guys, I hope you found this video to be informative over the R2C Cold Air Intake. Like I said earlier, not exactly the best intake that I would go with again if I had to do it over again. But you know, if you're looking for a cheap intake for some quick little throttle response, then you know, this I guess would work for you. And as you can see right there, temperatures, you know, when you're driving, they're not bad. So if you do a lot of highway driving, then honestly this intake would be totally fine. You know, if you're stop and go traffic all the time, your temperatures will be high, so don't expect to have, you know, crazy power or whatever in city traffic, but like, duh, that's obvious. So I really don't worry about it too much, because, you know, when the temperatures are super high, I'm not really getting on the car that hard anyways. It's, you know, usually highway pulls or sometime out in the middle of nowhere or whatever, and you know, down in central Mexico, that's the great place to go, and you want to, you know, check your temperatures. But yeah, so thanks for watching this video, guys. I hopefully will have a video coming out soon, the driving video for this car. I've been waiting for the window tint to officially dry and adhere to the windows before I start putting suction cup mounts on them. But definitely nice, or Camaro, oh, I almost called it a Mustang. Whew. But yeah, so I'm waiting for those to officially, you know, get all set, which they should be now. But I have a lot of stuff I have going on the next few days, so I'll have a video out as soon as I possibly can, but it might be 2 to 3 days is my guess. So thanks for watching this video, guys. I'll see y'all in the next one. Take it easy.